The story I want to tell you is about how God brought light into the darkness that was my life the summer after my sophomore year in high school. Previous to that summer, I was sitting in a lot of darkness. I was drinking, I was partying a lot, I was smoking, and I was following the path of my brother, who's 2.5 years older than me. He was my idol at the time, and I can look back and understand the reason for that was because my family life was so jacked up. He was the obvious person to look to and follow, because when your mom and dad stuff isn't so great, you look for someone to find value, identity, or worth, and for me that was my brother. So during the summer after my sophomore year in high school, things really escalated. I reached a point where I was just numb. I couldn't really feel anything. I didn't know how to love. I didn't know how to feel sad. I just couldn't process all of the stuff that was going on in my life. All I knew was anger, because that was the only thing that was demonstrated to me from my mom, from my dad, from my brother. It was just really broken. So at that time, I was part of a youth group, and I couldn't tell you why, but I decided to sign up to go on the Philadelphia Project. So my youth group got here on Sunday afternoon. I got here Monday night for dinner. I was not planning on coming. Sunday I decided, I was like, Mom, I'm not doing it. I'm over it. Not going to go. And my brother woke me up on Monday afternoon and said, Logan, God needs you to go. I'll drive you into the city. Let's go. When I got there, a group of girls were waiting for me, and they took my stuff, and they were like, Logan, we've been waiting for you. And I'm sitting there like, I have no idea who you are. I had two thoughts. One, I was like, let's bounce. Like, I'm done. Like, this is really weird. And secondly, I was like, this could actually be really cool. So I had never prayed previous to the project, and I thought I was so slick getting by every single worksite day, every single mealtime without actually having to pray. And I made the mistake of standing next to Scott our last day on the worksite, and he said, oh, you haven't prayed. You can pray us out. It was the roughest 20 seconds of my entire life. On the last day, we would go to a park, and we would have something called an encouragement circle, where we'd throw a frisbee to somebody and say something encouraging to that person, and it would go around and round until everybody had gotten picked. When they explained this game to me, the first two things I thought were, what is someone going to say about me? Here I am sitting in darkness. There's nothing that anyone could say about me that would be encouraging. There's no part of my life that someone would want to encourage. And the second thing I thought was, well, what am I going to say about someone else? Because I was so selfish, because I had never done anything for anyone other than myself. When the frisbee landed at my feet, I looked up and saw the sweetest woman in the world. Blanche had thrown it to me. And she shouts out from across the circle, baby girl, you're a light. And I just started crying. The fact that I was sitting here in all of this darkness, in all of this sin, and she saw light in my life. The fact that she saw Christ's light in my life, in the darkness that I was sitting in. She saw Christ standing next to me in the darkness. And when I opened my eyes, I was no longer in the darkness. So after that week at the project, my life was never the same. I was able to, 2 weeks later, get up in front of my entire church and be welcomed with the most incredible sense of love and family that I had never known. And it's still difficult sometimes. I still walk in darkness at points and seasons of my life. But whoever said being a Christian was easy is dead wrong. And if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth doing. And this is the only thing in my life that's been worth doing. God has been growing me and showing me my weaknesses, and making me stronger by making my heart look more like His. I've accepted that I do fail, and that I am not perfect, that I am a beautiful disaster, but the only thing that doesn't fail is God's love and grace. One of the most significant transformations in my walk with God has been understanding God as my Heavenly Father, which has been difficult considering the past I have with my earthly father. Understanding that I am God's daughter and I am loved more than I can fathom. God has taken my numb, broken heart and transformed it into one that's full of love and that beats for students who look a lot like I did a few years ago. So I challenge you with this. If you don't know why you're here, if you don't know where your heart is, if you don't know where you're placing your identity, sit down, put yourself aside, and let God work in your life, because you all have a purpose here. God has a plan for you, and it's far greater than any plan you can have for yourself. But just trust that God is working in your life, and that He has already paid for whatever sin and whatever darkness you're sitting in, and that He's right there with you, because you can walk 10,000 miles away from God, turn around and take one step toward Him and be right there with Him, because He was there with you the whole time.